Okay, here's your podcast for standard 4.7, which is going to be about how your body communicates with all the different parts and all the different cells within the body, and how the different body systems are going to make sure that your body stays in homeostasis. So you'll be able to recognize that the different body systems have to interact with each other, and that is based on cell communication. You're going to describe the electrochemical signals that happen between nerve cells, and we're also going to take a look at hormones within this section. And we're going to look at how cells that are within the same tissue can communicate with each other without involving other systems. So we'll see a couple of these different kinds of words in here, and we'll start to take a look at how different things we're going to communicate with each other. So body system communication. So the body systems are going to communicate in various types of ways. For example, your nervous system controls all the other systems of your body. And that is done using electrochemical signals. So if you look at the word electrochemical, there's a little bit of electricity type of stuff going on along with some chemical. Your circulatory system is also a big communicator, and it's going to be our delivery system. So it's going to deliver substances all throughout the body into all the different places in the body that need it. So nutrients will get transported around, waste products, oxygen, hormones, all sorts of stuff gets transported by our circulatory system, which is going to help with this communication. All your systems, remember, have to work together in order to maintain homeostasis, keeping your body at its regular temperature, pH, all of those things that need to stay normal. Your systems are constantly communicating with each other to keep things stable. So we're going to start by taking a look at how your nervous system is going to be involved with communication. Okay, neurons are these cells that make up your nervous system, and they are going to communicate through a space between them that is called the synapse. And basically the way that this happens is that chemicals called neurotransmitters are going to be sent from one cell to the next. So if you had two cells next to each other, neurotransmitters would get sent between those two cells, okay, and that's going to stimulate an electrical impulse for the next cell to get going. So we're going to talk more about this when we do standard 4.4 on the nervous system. This type of communication takes a very short amount of time, like a fraction of a second. So the neurotransmitter gets released and immediately contacts the next cell. They're very close to each other, and the electrical impulse gets carried along. In contrast to this, we also have hormones in our body. Hormones are chemical messengers, and they're going to be used for communication between different body systems that are not necessarily close to each other. Your hormones are produced by glands of the endocrine system, so it's an entire system dedicated to making your various hormones. And the hormones are going to travel in the blood, and they're going to go and find specific target cells, and they're going to make those cells do certain things. So they might tell the pancreas to release insulin, and then insulin's going to tell certain cells to take in glucose. So we'll actually take a closer look at that particular mechanism in the next notes. Now the thing with hormones, unlike the nervous system, which takes a fraction of a second, the effects of hormones can take hours or even days to occur. So a hormone can get released and actually have its effects be felt for quite a few days, or at least several hours. And hormones are controlled by a mechanism called feedback inhibition, and so we're going to take, again, a closer look at that in our standard 4.8. So just taking a closer look at your endocrine system, the various glands in your body that produce your hormones make up the endocrine system. There's a bunch of these different kinds of glands. All of the glands are controlled by a part of your brain called the hypothalamus. So this is a little center inside of your brain that communicates to all the different glands of your body and controls what hormones get released. The pituitary gland is considered your master gland. It's basically going to be releasing all sorts of stuff that is going to tell all the other glands of your body what to do. Okay, and the pituitary gland is directly in the control of the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus, which is in your brain, gets a signal, tells the pituitary gland, and then the pituitary gland will then tell the other glands of the body what they need to do. Kind of like a little game of telephone. So the pituitary gland, what it's able to do is it's also inside of your brain, so your whole brain would be all this structure up in here, and inside you have your hypothalamus connected to your pituitary. And the pituitary actually releases a lot of different kinds of hormones into circulation. Growth hormone, which is what allows you to grow your muscles and bones and everything. Several different kinds of hormones involved with reproduction, like prolactin and follicle-stimulating hormone. And those are involved with reproduction, making the testes and ovaries make their sperm and egg, producing milk. Thyrotropic hormone actually controls your thyroid. Your thyroid is a hormone that controls your metabolism. ACTH is going to control your adrenal glands, which are on top of your kidneys. Those can help to control your fight or flight response, adrenaline rushes, things like that. Those kinds of things are all masterly controlled by the pituitary gland. Now, also in your body, cells are going to need to be able to communicate with each other. So cells within a tissue have to communicate with each other without involving other tissues. So one cell that's right next to another one, they still have to have a way to kind of talk to each other. So cells that are in the same tissue have markers on them so that they can recognize each other. So they have special proteins or carbohydrates that are hanging off their cell membranes that say, hey, I belong here, you belong here, we can talk to each other. Now, a lot of times there's this little connection between two cells called a gap junction. And it actually literally makes the two cells kind of connect to each other briefly, and they can transmit chemicals back and forth between as a way of communicating. So if one cell knows that it's time to do some mitosis, it can send some chemicals over to the next one and tell it, you also need to start doing mitosis. And then that cell gets that message and will start doing what it needs to do. Okay, so little chemical messages can be sent between the cells through these gap junctions. So it's like a little bridge between them. Without the bridge, you'd have to scream across at each other and the message might not get delivered correctly. With the little bridge that you make with the gap junction, you're just sending the chemicals over and they're telling you directly what the message is. Okay, so an example of this, liver cells can communicate and control each other's function. So if one liver cell knows that it's time to make some bile, it can tell the other liver cells, you guys need to also make some bile, and then they'll all make bile together. If only one liver cell is doing what it's supposed to do and the other ones don't know that it's supposed to do that, that can cause some serious problems for your body. So this is what a gap junction might look like in this picture here. You have two cells that are next to each other. They literally form this little bridge, and some of these green particles can go over here, and those green ones would be like little proteins or whatever telling the cell what to do. The cells, what it would really look like is they would look like they're kind of touching each other or kissing each other, and they're exchanging material back and forth as they do that. So in Standard 4.8, we're going to take a closer look at homeostasis and how hormones are actually involved with keeping your body in its stable internal conditions.